Hi everyone, welcome to our vinyasa flow class, which ends with 5 minutes of meditation. Let's begin in Shavasana. How about that? We did have a request for that today from our live community, a virtual live. So come on down onto your back, splay out, take any position of corpse pose that you desire as you allow a moment to literally arrive and ground, so feel the surface below your body. Feel whatever you're feeling right now in mind and body. So in conclusion of our last few days of studying the four functions of the mind, or anatarkarana, here is an excerpt from one of the ancient texts that guides yoga philosophy, Katha Upanishad. Know thou the soul, or Atman, as riding in a chariot. The body is the chariot. Know thou the intellect, or buddhi, as the chariot driver, and the mind, manas, as the reins. The senses, they say, are the horses. The objects of sense, what they range over. The self, combined with senses and mind, wise men call the enjoyer. He who is not understanding, whose mind is not constantly held firm, his senses are uncontrolled, like the vicious horses of a chariot driver. He, however, who has understanding, whose mind is constantly held firm, his senses are under control, like the good horses of a chariot driver. He, however, who has the understanding of a chariot driver, a man who reigns in his mind, he reaches the end of his journey, that highest place of Vishnu. So Vishnu is a reference to the Hindu god of the triad. And you might think of Vishnu, and you don't have to be Hindu to relate to this, but as an archetype of the preserver, the protector, one who restores moral order. And some may call on Vishnu, the archetype, as when they're seeking to cultivate patience or needing help mediating disagreements. So that highest place of Vishnu. Higher than the senses are the objects of sense. Higher than the objects of sense is the mind, or manas. And higher than the mind is the intellect, buddhi. Higher than the intellect is the great self, Atman, soul. So putting all those four functions of the mind into perspective, that who's witnessing all these workings of the mind, that witness seat that we take when we're in meditation, remembering that that is the overseer. So lying here, let's begin to deepen the breath, feeling the inhale wherever it moves throughout your body. Hold it in for a moment, and as you open your mouth, let out any sound. Hold it out at the bottom. Feel that sense of emptying. And then a greater inhalation, slowly filling up to the top, holding it in for a few seconds at your pace before completely emptying the breath. Holding at the bottom again when you're ready to, a few seconds. And just like that, please take one more round. After holding your breath out, let's consciously take deeper breaths as we begin to draw the bent knees into your chest, here lying on your back. You may like to circle your thighs a moment together and apart, gently massaging your sacrum, warming up your hips, or rock and roll whether side to side or forward and back. Eventually, finding your own route to find a comfortable seat. Sitting up tall, grounding through both sitting bones left and right, lifting through the center of your spine with an open chest, relaxed shoulders. I'd like to begin the practice as we maybe joining the hands together at your heart with 3 ohms. So take a moment here, clarifying what inspires you in your practice of yoga today. What quality might you be seeking to cultivate within yourself? As we're studying these 4 functions of the mind and remembering that yoga is about calming the fluctuations of the mind, arriving at that steadiness. And so with all our intentions, let's join our voices in 3 chants of Om. Take a deep inhale. And as we're cultivating clear saying, I invite you to practice a breathing technique that helps us to draw our attention inward, to be intentional with our sensory organs and how we take in the stimuli externally. And that is through Brahmari pranayama, or bee's breath. So I'll demonstrate. We're going to use all our 5 fingertips to cover the different sensory organs. So the thumbs are going to be covering the ears, pressing into them. The index and middle fingers are gently going to help close the eyelids. Don't cover your ears just yet. And the ring fingers are gently going to close the nostrils when we exhale. They'll be open when we inhale. And then the pinky fingers will just gently close the upper lip to the bottom lip. And so Brahmari pranayama is done by first inhaling through the nose. And then as you close with all 5 fingertips, these sensory organs, you'll hum with 1 exhale. So you're feeling the vibration within as you hum, sort of like this. So I invite you to take that at your own pace, because you won't be able to hear me to start and stop with, for 5 cycles of breath. So let's prepare it. Thumbs at the ears, index and middle fingers are going to close the eyelids, ring fingers at the nostrils. We'll close the nostrils only when you exhale, and the pinky fingers helping to close the upper lip to the bottom lip. And tune in. As with any of yoga practice, notice what your direct experience is as you're doing this breath work. So when you're ready, 5 rounds of humming on your own. And when you're finished with Brahmari Pranayama, let's ease into Ujjayi Pranayama, which will guide us into our flow movements. So Ujjayi breath or victorious breath, closing the lips, sustaining your breath equally both in, out, while gently narrowing the back of your throat so that you can listen to a soft whisper in your breath, regulating the way you're breathing. Taking full breaths, come down to all fours, and we'll begin on the fingertips. So high on your fingertips, hollow the center of your palms so that we can strengthen the wrists here. Step your knees a couple inches behind your hips, your wrists, generally right under your shoulders. And as you inhale, draw your heart through your arms, rolling the shoulders back, gaze up into cow pose. As you exhale, lift the belly towards the sky as you drop your head, rounding into cat pose. On your own a few times, inhaling, glide your chest forward, coil it up. Exhaling, contract your belly, drop your head and round. About 3 to 5 more cycles of breath. Cat-cow pose or Bidhalasana. And as you're finishing this cycle of breath, flatten your palms onto the ground, pointing your index fingers forward parallel to each other. Spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes, and with an exhalation with bent knees, lift your hips high. Draw your sitting bones as high as you can towards the sky and as far back as you can towards your rear wall. And then completely drop your head. If you'd like to take a few breaths here to shift around, you may want to pedal your feet to help loosen up the backs of your legs, or softly shake and nod your head to help relax your neck. Any kind of movement that you're feeling for here. Our physical practice is going to be characterized by a bit of spinal twisting, a bit of hip opening, so start to become still in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Steady your eyes on one spot towards your feet. Spiral your outer upper arm slightly to face the ground to broaden across your shoulders. Draw your belly towards your spine and firm the top fronts of your thigh bones towards the back wall. 3 more breaths. Slow, steady breaths. Now keeping your 2 hips as leveled as possible. Firm your outer hips towards your midline. Lifting from the inseam of your leg, inhale, slowly raise your right foot behind you as you flex it, straight back. And as you exhale, contract your belly like cat pose, bending your right knee towards your nose. Softly land your right foot next to your right thumb. Lower your back knee and untuck the toes. Press your hands onto the top of your right thigh as you root firmly down to your right foot. And let your left outer hip slightly rotate forward to as evenly as you can square your hips to face the front of your mat. Feel your tailbone lengthening down as you're lifting your spine, your crown, softening the shoulders back. Imagine, without actually moving your legs, that you're dragging them towards each other, lifting your pelvic floor. Begin to raise your arms overhead. You can have your palms apart, facing each other, or maybe seal the palms here, softening your shoulders down as you lift through the center of your spine. Let's take 3 more breaths. Now rooting down through both of your feet. Inhale here, get a little bit taller, and exhale, backstroke your right arm towards your rear wall and extend your left arm towards your front wall so that both palms are facing the right wall. Now lift up to your crown. Feel your two hips evenly facing forward as you rotate your chest to face your right wall, little by little, breath by breath. So feel the stability through your legs. That front knee is stacked right above the heel. The right outer hip is drawing downward. Maybe you're looking behind your right hand, behind your right shoulder. Feel the shoulders relax down for one more breath here. Bring your right hand to your left side of your lower back or glute or hamstring. And then flipping the left palm to face the sky, lengthen your lower spine. And then right under your shoulder blades, contract your back into a gentle back bend. Bit of a twist in this back bend here. Roll the shoulders back, lift your heart up. One more breath here. We'll call this reverse lunge. And then as you exhale, plant your hands on the floor. And let's step back to downward facing dog. Spread your fingers wide. Inhale, glide forward into plank pose. Pausing here. So you can either keep your legs straight, actively pressing your heels back, or lower your knees right under your hips. Make sure your wrists are right under your shoulders. Your gaze is towards the ground, away in front of your hands. Lifting the sides of your waist. With an exhale, glide forward. Graze your elbows by your ribs. Lowering through Chaturanga Dandasana. Come all the way down. Press every toenail into the ground. And then roll your shoulders back. Take a deep inhale as you lightly lift your chest. Cobra pose. Press down through hands and knees or tuck your toes. Draw your belly in as you exhale to press up into plank. And then lift your tailbone back. Downward facing dog. So that was just a vinyasa here. Let's take a deep inhale. And through the nose, slow, gentle exhale. Again, firm your outer hips towards your midline. Keeping your two hips balanced. Lift from the inseam of your leg. Inhale, raise your left foot behind you as you flex it. Shoulders are even here. And as you exhale, lift the belly, bend your left knee towards your nose. Softly as you can, land your left foot just beside your left thumb. Set your back knee to the ground so your legs are hips distance apart, parallel. Root down to your left foot and use your hands to press into the very top of your left thigh. So that rooting down action rebounds a complementary action. Lift your spine tall. Draw the front of your shoulders back, pressing them down. How's your breath? So bring that feeling as if you're dragging your legs towards each other. Lift your pelvic floor. And with that stability from the ground up, raise your arms overhead. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, lift to your crown. You might choose to seal the palms, you might not. Let's take a few breaths here. And from this kneeling lunge, inhale, get a bit taller, lift to the top of your head. Exhale, backstroke your left arm so your fingertips are reaching towards your rear wall. Right arm is reaching towards your front wall. And both palms are facing your left wall. Inhale, press down through both feet. Lift up through the spine. And as the hips keep facing forward, exhale, rotate your rib cage. Turn your chest to face your left wall. We're here for a few breaths. And if it feels okay on your neck, maybe gaze past your left thumb. Now notice if that left outer hip wants to rise away from the floor. Instead, draw your left sitting bone down towards the floor and try to keep your two hips leveled in height. That's going to be important when we flow to create stability. Take another breath here. Exhale your hands to the ground. Step into downward facing dog. Downward dog. Inhale, glide forward into your version of plank pose. Exhale, shift forward, then bend the elbows back through chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog, in which you keep the pelvis lifted, drawing the shoulders back. Then hollow your belly as you exhale to lift your hips to downward facing dog. Let's take 3 slow breaths through the nose, steadying your gaze. So we're easing into a flow, building upon it, keeping your hips leveled. Inhale, sweep your right leg behind you, flex the foot, keep your arms even. Exhale, round through plank, step the right foot beside your right thumb. This time, stay high on the ball of your left foot. Energetically drag your feet towards each other. Lift your pelvic floor. Press to your feet. Inhale, rise up into crescent lunge. So palms can be touching or apart. Relax the shoulders. Feel the length of your spine as you square your hips forward. You might imagine you're hugging a block between your thighs, although that would be impossible here. But can you bring that energy of hugging the block? As you exhale, backstroke the right arm, reach the left arm forward, and spiral your chest to face your right wall. Maybe look behind your right shoulder. Adding on, bring your right hand to your left lower back, glute or hamstring. And inhale, sweep your left arm up and back into a back bend. Drawing the tailbone down, firming the lower belly in. And then as you exhale, sweep the left arm forward and down. Turn to your left into warrior two. So as you open your arms wide, align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Chest is now facing your left wall, and you're gazing past your right fingertips. How's your breath? Warrior two for a few more breaths. Wrap your right outer hip down underneath as you firm the top of your left thigh bone back towards the right wall behind you. Relaxing your shoulders with a tall spine. Take another breath in. Exhale, cartwheel your hands directly to plank. Continue down through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale your choice of cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath through the nose. Again, squaring your hips. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, round forward, step the foot through beside your left thumb. Feet are hips width, parallel. Stay on the ball of your back foot. Rooting down, inhale, rise up into crescent lunge. Exhale, left arm back strokes towards the rear wall, right arm towards front wall, and twist to your left. Bring the left hand to your right glute or hamstring and flip the right palm up as you coil your chest up on an inhale, reversing this lunge. Sweep the right arm forward, then down as you turn your chest to face your right wall, aligning left heel to arch of right foot, warrior two. Pausing for a few breaths, wrap the left outer hip under, bend your front knee right on top of your heel, firm the top of your right thigh bone towards your left wall, and relax your shoulders. Virabhadrasana 2, breathe in. Exhale, hands to plank pose. Continue into your vinyasa. Follow your pace of breath. If you want to switch it up, you can come down to hands and knees and take cat-cow, or go directly to downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Couple more breaths here. So we are building our sequence. Downward facing dog. Spread your fingers into the earth. Inhale, raise the right leg back, squaring your hips. Exhale, round forward, step the right foot through beside right thumb, high lunge. Inhale, root down to rise, crescent pose. Keep the hips squared. Exhale, tee your arms, back stroke the right arm and twist. Right hand to left hamstring. Inhale, reverse the lunge, coil your chest up. Exhale, sweep the left arm forward and through warrior two. Adding on. Inhale, straighten your legs, arms wide to prepare for triangle. Exhale, glide your hips towards the rear of your mat, reaching right arm forward, then onto your right leg, or just to the right of it. In triangle, arms wide open. Inhale, sweep the left arm overhead, extended triangle pose. Exhale, lower through plank. Take your version of your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg, squaring your hips. Exhale, round forward, step the foot beside left thumb, high lunge. Root down, inhale, rise into crescent lunge. Exhale, tee your arms, left arm backstrokes as you twist. Left hand to right hamstring, inhale, reverse the lunge. Exhale, right arm forward and through warrior two, chest facing right wall. Inhale, straighten your legs, prepare for triangle pose, sweeping the hips back. Exhale, left hand reaches forward and down to your left leg, or just to the left of it, triangle. Inhale, sweep your right arm overhead, extended triangle. Exhale, lower through plank, insert your version of your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Let's take 3 breaths and we'll practice this flow all the way through one more round. Take a moment here to slow down your breathing and to hear the qualities that you want to infuse into your movement through the way you're breathing. Tune in through all of this. How is this affecting your mind and your ability to observe your mind? Using the body as a tool here. Here we go. Inhale, sweep your right leg back. Exhale, step the foot through, high lunge. Root down, inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Exhale, backstroke right arm and twist. Right hand to left thigh, inhale, reverse your lunge. Exhale, left arm sweeps down and back, warrior two. Inhale, straighten your legs, sweep the hips back, prepare for triangle. Exhale, reach the right hand forward and down into triangle. Inhale, sweep left arm overhead, extended triangle. Exhale, lower through plank into your version of your vinyasa. Last side. Inhale, sweep your left leg back. Exhale, round through, stepping left foot into a high lunge. Root down, inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Exhale, backstroke left arm and twist. Inhale, left hand to right thigh, reverse the lunge. Exhale, right arm sweeps forward and down, open up to warrior two. Inhale, straighten the legs to prepare for triangle, sweep the hips back. Exhale, reach the left hand forward and down into triangle. Inhale, sweep the right arm, extended triangle. Exhale, lower through plank, keep going, your flow. And as we arrive either in downward dog or child's pose, as you choose, let's take 5 slow breaths Observe the effects of that breath-led movement. After your next exhalation, looking forward, hold your breath out as you walk or float your feet to the top of your mat. In a forward fold, have your feet hips width apart, parallel. Bend your knees any amount that you might need as we stretch out our outer wrists in Parahastasana. So lifting your toes, slip your palms face up underneath the soles of your feet so that perhaps your toes can reach the inner creases of your wrists. Then shift your weight forward as far as you can balance and inhale, lengthen your sternum past your upper arms. Exhale, hinge, dropping your head, possibly bending your elbows apart to lift the shoulders away from your neck. Let's try that half fold one more time. Inhale your heart forward. Exhale, bow in. And then here in the forward fold, let's take a few breaths, maybe shaking or nodding your head, maybe fluttering the lips to loosen your jaw. Find space throughout your neck here. Lift the shoulders up, drop the head low. And then slipping your palms out from underneath. Find your two blocks if you have them around, and please frame your outer heels with your blocks on their tallest height. Then take your strap, if you have one, and bend your knees, sink your hips, and lean into chair pose as you're holding your strap. Chair pose with the thighs, hips distance apart. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Relax your shoulders down, glide your shin bones back. Hug your front ribs towards the back of your body, sinking your tailbone. Last inhale. And press down through all of your feet. Join your hands in prayer and exhale, rise up to stand, mountain pose. So as you place your hands on your hips, keep your 2 hips facing forward. Step your left foot back 2/3 as far as you did in your crescent lunge, completely dropping the heel. And with your legs straight, engage the front muscles of your thighs. Using the strap in your left hand, raise your left arm and dangle the tail of the strap behind your back. Now with the help of your right hand, rotate your left tricep to face forward and plug your left shoulder bone down, bringing the elbow behind your head so that left palm lands between your shoulder blades. Reach your right hand underneath behind you to grab the other end of the strap. Then walk your hands as close together as you can. You might clasp your fingers and release the strap. Doesn't matter, just see what your capacity is here. Spreading your toes firm down through your feet and lift up your heart. Look up, breathe in. Legs steady. Exhale, begin to bow towards your inner right shin, then pause. As you inhale, tack your right hip slightly back so your hips are still evenly facing forward and grow the spine forward. Exhale, firm the belly in, fold a little more. So whatever your range is, breath by breath, folding into Parsvattanasana or pyramid pose. So as you're gently flexing your quadriceps, front muscles of your thighs, feel your kneecaps slightly lift towards your hip bones without locking your knees. Press down through your feet, keep the belly firm. Inhale, lift your spine parallel to the ground. Lower your left hand on the inside, the left side of your right foot, and place it on a block as needed. And use your right thumb to hook the crease of your right outer hip, pressing it back as you elongate your spine forward to trace the midline of your mat. Shoulders are relaxing down the back. Exhale, turn your chest to face the right wall. Inhale, ground to your feet, keep squaring your hips and lengthen your spine. Exhale, draw the belly in, keep turning your chest into the twist. You might raise the right arm up, You might step the left hand to the right side of your front foot. Let's take 3 more breaths in revolved triangle pose, Harita Trikonasana. And then look down at your right foot. Framing it with your 2 hands. Now feel free to grab your blocks here. If you're using blocks, take them with you. Inhale, rise halfway, bend your right knee slightly, and walk your hands 1 foot forward of your right foot. So feel free to bring the blocks as we're moving into Warrior 3. Lift from the inseam of your left leg and shift all your weight into your right foot. Look ahead of the blocks, ahead of your hands on the floor, and flex your left foot as you raise the left leg parallel to the floor. How's your breath? Drawing your right hip back, turn your left outer hip to face the ground. Feel your belly lift as though you're in plank pose. Extend your heart forward. Virabhadrasana 3. Last 3 breaths. You might opt to join your hands at your heart. You might extend the arms forward, whatever variation of your arms. Imagine your left foot is pressing against the back wall. It feels that solid as you lower your left hand onto the block or the floor. Place your left hand about 1 foot in front of your right big toe. Again, use your right thumb and hook the right outer hip back as you inhale to lengthen crown of your head towards your front wall. Keep the hips steady. Exhale, turn your chest to face the right wall. Similar to revolved triangle, you may want to raise the right arm. And you're now in revolved half moon. How's your breath? Harita Ardha Chandrasana. Keep pressing your left heel into that imaginary rear wall. Create that strong center line in your body horizontally. Last 3 breaths. Now look down towards your 2 blocks or where they might be. Place your hands back down in front. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step the left foot hips distance from the right and fold in. This time, bend your knees any amount and use your index and middle fingers to clasp your big toes. Inhale, draw your heart forward, rise halfway. Exhale, hinge from your hips, maybe bending the elbows apart, completely drop your head. 1 more time, inhale, rise halfway. Keep your weight shifting forward. And exhale, let it go. Forward fold, few breaths. Maybe some cooling, clearing exhales through the mouth, any sound. Then unclasping your big toes, place your blocks again to frame your heels. Grab your strap. Bend your knees, sit into that chair pose again with the feet apart, thighs apart, arms up. 3 breaths. Send your shin bones back. Anchor the tailbone downward. Hug your front ribs in and relax your shoulders. Last breath. As you press your feet into the ground, exhale, rise, join your hands at your heart, mountain pose. Bring your hands to your hips, keep them facing forward, and step the right foot 2/3 as far back as you did in your high lunge. Grounding both heels, straightening both legs, hold the strap from your right hand, and dangle the tail behind you. Use your left hand to help rotate your right tricep forward, plugging your right upper arm bone into its socket as you bend the elbow right behind your head. With right palm landing between your shoulder blades, reach your left hand behind you and grab the strap from underneath. Walk your hands as close together as you can, maybe clasping the hands if that's available. Then as you spread your toes, engage the front muscles of your thighs, your quadriceps. Inhale, look up. Belly firm. Exhale, hinge forward 1/3 of your range, then pause. From down through your feet, inhale, lengthen the spine as you square your hips. Exhale, hinge another 1/3 of your range. Keep going. Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Be mindful of keeping an open space at your throat here. Feel that natural space between your chin and your chest. One more deep breath. So keep your legs energized. Belly firming in. Inhale, lift your spine parallel to the floor. Lower the right hand just beneath your right shoulder on a block of the ground. Use your left thumb to hook the left outer hip back. Take another inhale and lengthen your spine down the midline of your mat. Keep your hips leveled. Exhale, turn your chest to face your left wall. Breath by breath. Maybe raising the left arm, revolve triangle pose. You might also opt to place the right hand on the left side of your front foot. Parita Trikonasana. Wide across your arms, take another deep breath. Look at the floor in front of your left foot and exhale, lower your hands to frame your front foot. Feel free to use your blocks under your hands. Inhale, lift your chest, rise halfway. Exhale, walk your hands 1 foot in front of your left foot. Begin to bend the left knee, look past your hands on the floor, and shift your weight entirely onto your left foot as you lift from the inseam of your right leg, flexing the foot. Feel the center line of your body. As you make it horizontal, lift the sides of your waist and send your shoulders down your back. Taking a few breaths here in Virabhadrasana 3 or Warrior 3, feel free to explore any variations with your arms. Use your imagination to press your right foot into your back wall. As you feel the strength of that lifted leg, lower your hands on the floor or the blocks. Place your right hand 1 foot in front of your left big toe. Inhale, lengthen through the center line of your body, that horizontal line. Left thumb hooks the crease of the left outer hip. Drawing it back, exhale, turn your chest to face your left wall. Breathing in, lengthen. Breathing out, keep twisting. You're in revolved half moon pose. Maybe raising the left arm. Harita Ardha Chandrasana. Three more breaths. Look down at your blocks or the floor in front. Lower your 2 hands. Breathe in. Lift your chest. Lengthen forward. Exhale, step right foot next to the left and fold. This time, heel toe your feet apart so they're wider than hips distance. And from your hip sockets, rotate your thighs externally. Turn out your legs. And then bend your knees into a squat. That works for your body. Now you could grab your blocks and make a stool to sit on. You could sit on the floor. You could hover your pelvis off the ground. Just make sure that your knees are turned out the same degree as your middle toes are. Use your elbows or your arms to splay your inner thighs apart. And as you sink your tailbone and root down through your feet, breathe length up each vertebra of your spine. Floating your heart space open, roll your shoulders back and down. Then crossing your left arm against your inner left thigh, you can either press your right hand into your inner right thigh to lift the spine and then twist to your right, or you could raise the right arm and lean back, or you could wrap the right arm behind you. Maybe it catches hold of your left thigh, or you take a bind, left arm wrapping in front of left shin and the hands clasped. So whatever the variation, let's breathe into it 3 more cycles. Bottom of your exhale, come back through center in your squat. Using both elbows to splay your inner thighs apart, lift your spine, take a breath here. Cross the right arm inside of your right leg. Either press your left palm on your inner left thigh so that you lift the spine and then rotate your chest to the left. Or raise your left arm and lean back. Or wrap the left arm behind you. Maybe add a bind. 3 more breaths. Bottom of the exhale, unwind your spine. And let's step back onto hands and knees so that we can lower all the way to the ground, taking our last few active heart opening back bends. So resting your forehead on the ground, we'll start in locust pose. Scoot your knees as close together as possible. So go ahead and rest your forehead down. I'm going to lift mine so that I can talk to you. Bring your arms down by your sides with your palms face down beside your thighs. Now imagine your big toes are trying to touch your back wall. So as you grow the big toes, feel this action of lengthening your lower back. The tailbone is reaching towards between your heels. Keep that action. Feet stay parallel. Spiral the inseam of your legs towards the sky. And then as you inhale, roll your shoulders behind you, lifting your chest, gently lifting your head, and then press your heels back to lift your legs. Lastly, your arms, and you're in Shalabhasana. You're in locust pose. Give yourself 5 or more breaths here before you lower everything to the ground and rest. Now you could opt to open your arms like wings. You could opt to extend your arms forward, where the palms face each other and the upper arms rise alongside your ears. Keep drawing your shoulder blades down your back. How's your breath? When you decide that you're done, you may choose to make a pillow for your forehead out of your forearms and pigeon toe your feet to create a small opening for the lower back to release. And then when resting, let's take 3 abdominal breaths in through the nose, into the belly, and then out through the mouth. Round 2, you could either practice the same posture again, Shalabhasana, arms down by your sides, parallel the feet, or move into bow, Dhanurasana. If the latter, press your pubic bone into the ground. Bending your knees, reach your hands back to catch hold of your outer feet. Keep your knees no wider apart than hips distance and kick your legs back towards straight while pulling your feet towards your glutes as you coil your chest up. Give yourself 5 or more breaths here before you let it go. So by looking slightly down on the floor ahead, try not to strain your neck. Let your heart lift, mostly through that contraction in your upper back and through the power of your legs kicking. And once you've let it go, perhaps again you make a pillow out of your forearms to rest your head. And maybe this time, this is the last back bend on our stomach. Take 3 abdominal breaths as you windshield wiper your shins side to side. More active way to help release your lower back. And let's slide into child's pose for a few breaths. Bringing the inner edges of your feet to touch, sinking your pelvis down to your heels with your knees together or apart. Place your arms anywhere that is helpful for you for 5 breaths here. Then with your hands alongside your knees, drop your chin towards your chest, and with an inhale, roll your spine upright slowly. Sitting with your legs extended in front of you, let's prepare for a twisted version of head to knee pose, Parita Janu Shirshasana. So extend your right leg forward. You may want to grab a strap and step the ball of your right foot into the loop or the middle of the strap. Bring your left heel high up onto your inner right thigh towards your pubic bone, and use your left hand to hold the strap. Flex your right foot. If you don't have a strap, you can extend your left arm up. Place your right fingertips beside your right outer hip. Press your pelvis down and inhale, lift up to your spine while relaxing your shoulders. First, as you exhale, turn your chest to your right side and then bow diagonally towards the upper right corner of your room. Pause as you inhale, root your pelvis down, especially your left glute, while lengthening your sternum towards that upper right corner of your room. Then as you exhale, you might crawl the right hand forward, you might walk the left hand down the strap, holding in for a few more breaths. And as you're firming the belly towards your back, lifting from your chest, inhale, slowly rise up. And let's switch. Bring the strap over to the ball of your left foot as you extend the left leg forward. Place your right heel high up on your inner left thigh, close to your pubic bone. Hold the strap in your right hand. If no strap, raise your right arm. Place the left fingertips beside your left hip. Inhale, root into the ground and lift up to your crown. Exhale, spiral your chest to the left and then bow towards the upper left corner of your mat. Inhale, pause, press downward, especially with your right sitting bone, and lengthen your sternum towards the upper left corner of your room. Exhale, fold, belly firms in towards the back. Maybe walking the hands forward. As you keep the shoulders relaxed, find a slight lift of your chest. Taking one more breath here in Parita Janu Shirshasana. Inhale slowly, rise up. Let's put the strap aside. You may want to bring a block with you and just set it down beside the rear end of your mat. Come on down to your back. Oops. And let's come into happy baby pose for a few breaths. Splaying your thighs apart. You can catch hold of your ankles or your outer feet. Press your tailbone and shoulders into the ground. And parallel your feet as the soles of your feet face the sky. Drawing your knees downward towards the earth outside of your shoulders. Keep pressing your tailbone and shoulders into the ground. You might choose to rock side to side. Let's take a few more breaths here. And then move into 1 minute of a cooling inversion of your choice. That's what the block is for if you want to come into supported shoulder stand. Or some of you might practice traditional Salamba Sarvangasana shoulder stand, just as long as you don't have neck injuries. Or you could take this happy baby pose into a straddle, clasping your big toes with your index and middle fingers and extending your legs apart while rooting your tailbone and shoulders into the ground. So you're still lifting your legs higher than your heart. And those of you in traditional Salamba Sarvangasana might move into plow pose, Halasana, bringing the legs overhead if you choose. Just make sure that you're protecting your neck. You don't want to feel like you're flattening the back of your neck to the floor. That's why it's helpful sometimes to have folded blanket underneath your upper back. Sure you're not turning your head side to side and that you're lifting the chin slightly away from your chest. Allow a few more breaths to gradually ease into drawing your bent knees into your chest, spine, pelvis, all the way down to the floor. Gathering everything in towards your center, close to your heart. And then as you're ready to set up for Shavasana, take a deep inhale, fill up to the top and hold it for a few seconds. Maybe sip in a little more air. Then as you're ready, open your mouth with a slow cleansing exhale. Release your limbs to splay out. Arriving in Shavasana. For a few minutes of stillness, closing your eyes, and just letting your breath flow naturally. Higher than the senses are the objects of sense. Higher than the objects of sense is the mind, manas. And higher than the mind is the intellect, buddhi. Higher than the intellect is the great self, atman, that which witnesses the mind. Just begin to move your fingers and toes. Start to make your way up into a comfortable seat, taking your time. As you prepare to sit for 5 minutes of meditation, take a moment to adjust your posture as needed so that you can feel grounded, open, and alert. You might choose to bring your hands in a mudra that helps you to focus, like Dhyana mudra, thumb and index finger to touch, or stacking the palms, cultivating a sense of balance, a neutral mind, thumb tips touching. And you could either close your eyes or steady a soft gaze on one spot ahead. And so concentration, or the ability to have a strong, unwavering focus, is preliminary, is necessary in order to arrive into that state that we call meditation, which is the absorption into the object of focus. So one means to cultivate strength and concentration is to bring your attention to the breath. So feeling your breath naturally enter and exit your body without having to control it. You might visualize the in-breath beginning at the base or bottom of your spine and rising up through each vertebra to your crown. And then the exhale descends from the crown down your spine, ending at the bottom, the base. So mind's eye traveling with the in-breath up your spine, traveling with the out-breath down your spine. Bringing your palms to meet at your heart center and lifting your heart as you bow in towards it. An acknowledgement of your own inner guidance. Let's close this practice with that sound that reminds us of how we are all interconnected. The sound of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.